Hello and welcome. In this practice, we'll be focusing on opening and also strengthening the front chain and the back chains of the body. So let's begin, and we'll start down on the floor. Have a lie down and come into Baddha Konasana. So as you have a lie down, bring the soles of the feet to touch and let your knees butterfly out to the sides. Take a moment to settle in, really tucking the shoulder blades back and underneath you, and then shutting down the eyes. Give just a few moments to let the body settle. And with that in mind, take a nice long and very deep breath in. Soft, releasing, heavy breath out. Setting some kind of background intention to bring a sense of ease to the body. And more than that, we bring it about through a sense of well-being. And so this idea or intention of well-being, it establishes not only a boundary, but also a quality to your practice. And so we start to engage with that in a very physical and conscious manner. Start to take your attention to your breath and slow it down. And so immediately you start to get this connection, engagement, and interaction with your body, where your actions are helping to settle, soothe, and bring about that sense of well-being. You're curating an experience within the body. And one of the ways that we go about that is coordinating a slower pattern of breath into what we do. And so here, see if you can stretch out your breathing to breathe in for about 6 seconds and breathe out for about 6 seconds. Not going to do this for long, just maybe 2 more big breaths like that. Feeling a deep sense of expansion into your lower back, into your belly space. We'll just take one final breath. And now really try and keep that slowed down pattern of breath moving throughout the practice. Keep a good sense of connection to what's happening inside of your body. And let's start to move. So draw the knees together. Set the feet on the floor at about mat width apart, width of the mat. Dropping the knees just a couple of times from side to side. Get a little bit of movement and rotation through the legs and the hips. Just take 1 or 2 rounds. And then bringing the feet to hip width apart, the width of your sitting bones, and roll into bridge. So as you inhale, tilt the tailbone up and lift the hips up. And as you exhale, lower the hips straight back down. And just like that, 1 breath to 1 movement. Inhale to lift and roll the spine up off the floor. Exhale to bring it back down. Let's just do 2 more. So nice curling action through your tailbone to the lower back, mid back, upper back. And then same thing coming down. 1 final round, lift and lower. And as your hips come down, draw the right knee in towards your chest, and then kick the leg up towards the ceiling or the sky. A little bend in the knee, but draw the toes back towards the face, just getting a feel for the hamstring, back of the leg, and start to lower down your tailbone and hips towards the floor. So there's this kind of feeling of kicking the heel up towards the ceiling, and immediately, just in these first 2 little postures, we've got a feel for the front and back chain of the body. Little back bends, and now what we might call this is this hamstring stretch is more in the forward fold family. So we'll just take 1 more big breath. And then wrap your right leg over the left one and drop the legs over to the left into a twist. Opening out the right shoulder. Just a couple of Easy breaths here, very short hold, 2 or 3 breaths. More just to get a feel for it than anything. And then with an inhale, bring the knees back up through center. Hug them in towards your chest just for one brief moment. And then feet on the floor, left leg kicks up towards the ceiling. Grab a hold of the back of it. Again, it's more important that the toes are drawing back and you're driving the heel up more so than how much you straighten your leg. So it really doesn't matter where you grab your leg. It's more about the powerful activation of the heel kicking up. Tailbone down. 2 more big breaths here. Into the eagle wrap. So left leg over the right one. A little bit of a scooch of the hips over to the left to drop the knees to the right. Left shoulder sinking as a priority, more so than how much you turn your hips over to the side and the legs over to the side. So it's all about the grounding of your left shoulder blade here. A little bit of contraction on your belly as you exhale. Create space through your midsection. One final big breath now. And then back through to center. Hug the knees in towards your chest. Rock your way up to a seat. And let's roll over the knees and come straight into cat-cow. So as you find tabletop, hands and knees, move straight into it. Take an inhale to press the belly down. And exhale to arch and raise up through your spine. Just like that. 1 breath to 1 movement. Inhale to dip. Exhale to arch. We're only going to do a few rounds. So if you want to take it into more dynamic, sort of organic movement, little side bends and just exploring the edges of the hips, the spine, the shoulder blades, feel free to make it a little bit more, let's call it sexy. Make it a little bit more fluid and playful. 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then very gently, once you feel fairly organized, go ahead and come up into downward facing dog, tucking your toes, lifting up your hips nice and gently, nice and slowly. Get a feel for the shoulders, the back of the legs, a little bit of movement, playful with it. 1 or 2 more breaths here. Next inhale, come into high plank. Really grip the floor with the fingers like you're squeezing a tennis ball. And then send the hips back up into downward facing dog. And just do that 2 more times. Round your upper back into high plank. Try and drop the tailbone as you get there. Back into down dog. Last one, come into high plank. This time, drop your knees to the floor and lower the whole body down until you're flat. Take the hands a little bit wider. Inhale to lift up the chest into cobra. Exhale to lower back down. Just a few more of these. 1 breath to 1 movement. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Feel your shoulder blades moving through this process. So as you lift, draw the shoulder blades back and down. And then as you lower, you kind of allow them to sort of collapse and come forward again. But just like that, up, back, down, and then slowly lower. Let's just do 1 more. Inhale up. Exhale to release. Either do a push-up or come back through tabletop and into down dog, and then a gentle walk towards the top of your mat, feet coming forward. A little bit of a bend in the knees. Draw the belly in and roll up your spine through to standing. Reach and stretch up nice and tall. Catch opposite elbows above your head. Drop your shoulder blades. Squeeze your backside, your glutes, and lean over to your left. Nice big side bend here. 1 breath. Inhale back up through to center. Exhale, switching to the other side, over to the right. Inhale back up. Let's do it again. Over to the left. Keep your backside tight. Inhale back up. And last one to the right. Back through to center. Raise up the arms and interlace your hands behind the lower back. Roll back the shoulders. Big bend in the knees as you fold again. Hands coming up over the head. Immediately relaxing the neck here. Try and squeeze at the shoulder blades. Again, back and down. 2 more big breaths here. Release, 2 hands to the floor. Take an inhale to halfway lift, flatten your back. Left foot stepping back into low lunge. Drop the knee to the floor. Raise the chest and arms up. Go ahead and bring the arms out into a cactus shape. So bend the elbows, draw the shoulder blades down, belly in, tilt the chest up just a touch, 1 big breath. And then as you draw the hands to prayer at heart center, send those hands forward, but drive the hips back. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, arms up, bend the knee, cactus the arms. And then reaching out in front of you, like the arms are a counterweight for the hips. As you reach forward, send the hips back. 1 more. Inhale, up. Exhale, cactus. Hips back, arms forward, prayer. This time, simple twist. Bend the front knee, right hand raises up, lift the back knee. Only 2 or 3 breaths here, but make it a mighty little one. Back leg nice and straight, sink the hips, turn the chest, 1 last breath. Side plank, right leg steps back on top of the left, push the ground away, lift the hips, 1 more big breath here. Switch that side plank over, right hand down, left hand comes up. Welcome to take it to wild thing. It might be early days for that, but you feel it out. 1 more big breath. Do your very best here to raise the left leg up. Try and step it to the top of the mat, followed by the right foot all the way up. Take an inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, stand tall, reach up, big breath in. Exhale to fold again, hands coming down. Halfway lift. Right foot stepping back. Lower the knee. Raise the chest and arms up. So belly in, squeeze your right glute and cactus the arms. Elbows out to the side. Drop the shoulder blades. 1 big breath. And as you reach the arms forward, straighten the front leg and fold. Inhale, arms up, bend the knee, lunge, cactus the arms. They might really keep the collarbones lifted as you reach forward, hips back, straighten the leg. Last one. Inhale, arms up, cactus. Reach forward, hips back, half Hanuman. This time, simple twist. Bend the front knee, back knee up, left hand up. So rotating through the chest, but not rotating through your hips. We give it just 2 more big breaths, maybe a little sink on the hips too. And then side plank. Left leg steps back on top of the right. Stack up the hips. Lift. Push the ground away so the armpit feels like it's coming away from the floor. Switch. Left hand down. Right hand up. Option for a wild thing. I'm going to leave it out for my body. Lift the hips. Hold. Another big breath. Now do your best here. Raise your right leg up. Step it to the top of the mat as best as you can. Step all the way up. Feet together. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold in. Stand tall and reach up all the way. Big breath in. And finally, we come through a flow. Exhale to fold forward, hands to the floor. Halfway lift and then step or jump straight back into chaturanga. Bent elbows. Inhale, up dog, chest through. Down dog, hips up. 1 big breath only. Walk, step, or jump to the top. Feet up. Halfway lift as you're there. Exhale to fold again. Stand tall and reach up. Big breath in. Exhale to fold again. Hands coming down. Halfway lift. Left foot stepping back into crescent lunge. Arms up. Big breath in here. Once you're there, right hand to grab the left wrist. Physically grab a hold of it. Stretch the left arm up. Squeeze your left glute hard. And as you sink your hips, lean to the right. So you're physically pulling the arm and the whole side body up and over. Another 2 big breaths. Nice big twist. Left elbow hooking around the front knee. Hands come together. As you sink your hips a little, lift the collarbones up, rotate through the chest, back leg really strong and straight. 1 more big breath here. Inhale, arms up, back into crescent lunge. Now just take a moment to slightly shorten up your stance. Turn the back heel down, interlace your hands behind the lower back, roll back the shoulders, and as you straighten through the front leg, fold forward. Plant your front big toe, hold and breathe. Imagine that the right hip crease, the right hand side of your belly, can draw in and up like you're lifting the right sitting bone. Soften your neck. Back leg is like your pillar of stability. Keep it strong and stiff through the thigh. 2 more big breaths. Now a little bit of a challenge for you. Stay cool. Keep the breath slow. Keep the hands. Start to lift the back leg up. Standing splits variation, holding for just 2 big breaths. As you release your arms to the floor, step back for warrior 2. Open out the arms. Straighten the front leg as you arrive. Reach up and back. Big breath in. Finding triangle. As you keep the front leg straight, plant the front big toe. Let the hips sink back. Right hand down, left hand up. Holding, breathing. 2 or 3 more breaths here. Fairly short hold, but keep your belly in. Left shoulder blade sinking and softening. Last big breath. Up through warrior 2. So bend the front knee, reach for the ceiling. Let's linger at the top. Just hold for another breath. Drive the front knee forward as you're reaching up. Big breath. Arms out to a T shape. Turn the front foot in, and then hands to prayer as you turn the heels in and toes out. Goddess, sit the hips down nice and low. Belly in, chest up, tailbone pointing down, holding, breathing, and just the mildest little rock left to right. So feel one thigh lighting up. It's not about how far you can go, just that little bit of emphasis on one leg, and then the other. Ooh, she burns. Another big breath here. Stand all the way up, 2 straight legs, turn the feet in and fold forward. As you get there, take an inhale to halfway lift, bend one knee and then the other, shifting body weight, left to right, side to side. 1 more big breath here. To the back of the mat. Walk the hands to the left. As you get there, left hand raises up into simple twist, straight into wild thing. Step your left foot over the right leg. Drop the hips before you lift them. Puff up the chest, lift the chest, lean back. Take another big breath. Very similar to before. Try and lift the left leg up and step it back between the hands. Find Skandasana at the other end of the mat. Sink your hips to the right heel. Left leg straightens, chest up. 2 more big breaths here. Turning to the original top of the mat. And as you get here, lower the back knee down. Raise the chest and arms up into low lunge. Big breath in here. And then turn to your right. So left hand forward, right hand back. Now sink the hips a little, but again, keep the left glute tight. And as you sink, 2 choices actually. Left hand to the front knee and right hand to your lower back and sink into it like that. Or think about picking up the back foot and taking the foot into your hand or the ankle into your hand. A little bit of breath. Keep the glute tight. So rotation through the shoulders, shoulder blades drawing back. Another big breath here. Squeeze the glute. Release. Hands and foot to the ground. Inhale to step up. Feet together. Inhale to halfway lift. Keep some space between the feet as you fold forward. Inhale to stand tall. Reach up. Big breath in. Exhale to fold again. Hands coming down. Halfway lift. Drive the knees into the upper arms. So they're somewhat together but separated. Knees coming up towards the armpits for crow and clamp in and up. So you're trying to draw the thighs together but use the traction. Knees into the upper body, up into the armpits rather. Lifting, pushing the chest forward a little, get longer. Another big breath. And then either a step or a jump back. Chaturanga. Up dog. Finds down dog. Breath or two. Walk, step, or jump to the top. Feet up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Stand tall, reach up. Exhale to fold again. Hands coming down. Halfway lift. Right foot stepping back. Arms up. Crescent lunge. Left hand takes the right wrist. Sink the hips. Lean left. But belly stays in. Right glute stays tight. Really don't drop the glute. Keep it on. Critical. 2 more big breaths. Saturate the belly. Nice deep twist. Right elbow around the front knee. Hands come together. Sink the hips. Push into the prayer. Rotate. Back leg really stiff, really strong. Holding. Stay with it. 1 more big breath. Arms up, crescent lunge. Take a second, shorten up your stance. Back heel down. Interlace the hands behind the lower back. Roll back the shoulders. And then drive the left hip back as you straighten the leg and fold. Holding, breathing. A little bit of balance involved, so take your time with it. The wobbles are all part of it. Shoulder blades back and down. Back thigh nice and firm, engaged. Slowing down the breath. Stay engaged with what's happening inside the body. Stay sensitive. Even in amongst all this discomfort. 1 more big breath. All right, now go slow. Keep the hands. Push off the back foot and lift it. Belly can stay on the thigh. Back leg lifting, glutes working. Another big breath. Warrior 2, gentle landing as you open out. Find the balance. Establish. Flip the front palm. Straighten the front leg and reach up. Triangle. As you plant your front big toe, sink your hips back. Left hand down, right hand up. I mean, you're welcome to shorten up your stance here a little bit. I think maybe some of you might have to. Make it comfy and be intuitive. If it feels long, it is long. Keep the back legs strong and tight. Easy breathing. Bring in a little bit of softness, so right shoulder blade sinks. Front big toe is still planted. That's like your anchor point there for the leg. Another 2 big breaths. Warrior 2. Bend the front knee. We reach up and back. Exalt your warrior, but sink the hips and linger at the top here. So kind of load up the front leg as you lean away from it. Big breath. Arms out to a T. Turn the front foot in, and then turn the heels in, toes out. Hands to prayer. Adjust the stance as you sit down into goddess. Holding and breathing. Little bit of a rock side to side. Let it burn a little bit here. Let it burn. Slow down the breath. Concentrate there. Curate the experience. Holding. Breathing. Let's just stay for 1 more big breath. Stand up. Turn the feet in. Sweet relief to fold forward. Halfway lift as you're there. And then bending into one knee and then the other. Shifting body weight left to right, side to side, to the back of the mat, runner's lunge. Find simple twist. Right hand raises up, wild thing. Right foot steps over the left leg. Turn the hips, rotate the chest, and lift. Holding, breathing, reaching the chest up and back. 1 more big breath. Lift your right leg up, up, up towards the ceiling and try and step it back between the hands. Skandasana to the top of the mat. So into your left heel, sink the hips. Chest up, sink heavy into the ankle, into the heel. You know, as much as we work opening through the body, we also work into compression. And here we work compression on the ankle. Another big breath or so. Back to the top of the mat. Turn to your left. Rotate. Drop the back knee down. Arms up. Low lunge. Anjaneyasana. Turn to your left. So right hand forward, left hand back. Sink the hips. Front hand to the knee. Left hand to the lower back. Or sink a little deeper. So your gravity's in the front foot. And then lifting the back leg. Not the leg, the foot, not the knee. So taking a hold of the ankle. Maybe the hips want to come down a little bit, but keep the rotation on the shoulders. Left shoulder, pinning back a little bit here. Holding, breathing, staying. 2 or 3 more here. Steady and slow breaths. A little bit of a balance here, so let all the wobbles be a part of it. Final big breath, very, very deep, juicy shape. Last one, big breath. Release. 2 hands to the floor and step up. Feet together. Take an inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold forward. A little bit of space between the feet as you stand up. Reach up and stretch up. Exhale to fold again. So a lot of crow pose is being able to draw the knees in towards your ribs and squeeze. So cultivate that feeling of tucking into a ball. Knees come up and in, clamp inward towards your center line, towards your sternum, towards your chin, and round your upper back as you shift body weight forward into the fingertips. There's the scary part. Collarbones forward, get longer. Another big breath. Chaturanga. Inhale, finds up dog. Exhale, down dog. Breath or 2. Go ahead and step your right foot between the hands. Lower the back knee down. We start to straighten through the front leg. Now, a couple of variations. Front splits is one variation to keep driving the front heel further forward. Or take the variation I'm going to take, sitting back onto your left heel, maybe inside the foot like it's half hero on that left leg there. And then lifting the front ball of the foot in either shape. Whether you're in front splits right now, that's really hard for me to say today, front splits. Either way, front foot lifted and then starting to fold forward. Pretty different shapes. Obviously the front splits has a little bit more focus on the back leg, your left leg opening up as well, the hip flexor. This one, we're compressing the hip flexor. So your choice, feel out what you might want to do. You're pretty warm and prepared for either one of those. I'm feeling like this one today. Go ahead and bring a little bit of softness through your jaw and your neck into either position. If you're here in this one with me, relax your shoulders a little bit. If you're in front splits, lift your chest and cultivate a sinking of the hips. But really try and keep the front foot lifted, the ankle stiff, the shin active, the thigh active. We want this muscular activity around the major joints here. We take a few final big breaths here. Last one, big breath. Chest lifts up. Now if you're in front splits, come back to something similar to what I'm in, sitting down onto the back heel or thereabouts inside the heel. Bring your right hand behind the hip and lift the hips up into wild thing. So pressing off that left foot there, holding for a second, big breath. Now very similar to before, lift your left leg up and step it to the back of your mat between the hands. Lower the back knee down. So as you arrive, one of 2 choices, either front splits and start to spread out the stance, or we start to sink into the back heel. Might be good to be just sort of halfway up your mat here, just so we're prepared for the next thing. And then rolling out the calf. Maybe you're sitting inside the heel. I know this is quite a tricky position to be in, so don't push it. If the knee isn't happy with it, don't push that. We can kind of push muscles, but joints we don't want to really push. Nice and lifted in the lower back if you're coming with me. and then starting to fold forward. This is an interesting little shape, I think. It's quite tricky in this field of compression. So just as I mentioned before, we work openness and we also work compression. And here we have a great deal of compression into the leg. And that relationship into the hips, especially in this forward fold, is quite tricky. So no force necessary. Just sort of let the nature of the posture be a little bit uncomfortable. I don't think it's meant to be necessarily the most pleasant place to be. So try not to emphasize that any more than it needs to be. And in contrast to that, really try and bring some softness through the body. We're looking to keep both sitting bones on the floor, Good sense of softness through the shoulders and the neck. And then a really expansive breath into the back body rib cage. So we feel that movement into the torso. There's a good sense of connection and sensitivity to the body. Maintaining the activation of the ankle, the shin, the thigh. There's stability in that front leg there through muscular activation. So we're kind of in this stretch while we activate, strengthen, and tone the muscle. Easy on the breathing. Another 2 or 3 here. Settling in, sinking in. Last one, maybe 2. Alrighty, let's do a fun transition. Inhale, lifting up. So wild thing, left hand behind your hip. It might come off your mat momentarily, that's okay. Lift your hips up. This time a little bit different. Puff through the chest, one big breath. And then the right foot stepping to the top right corner, left foot to the top left corner, and all the way up into a squat to sit down. So adjust the stance. Again, careful of the knees, careful of the lower back. But belly in, chest up. 2 more big breaths here, maybe 3. You're at a little bit longer. Squeeze your backside, your glutes, the bottom of the glutes. Last big breath now. And then either plonking the hips down on the floor or take your hands behind you to do the same. Lowering the hips, rolling down onto your back. And as soon as you're onto your back, bridge pose. So feet on the floor, tilt the tailbone up, lift the hips up. If you wanted to bring it up into wheel, you're more than welcome. I'm going to keep it tame for me today and stay in bridge. You might like to interlace the hands behind your lower back, but keep the power through the glutes. A bit of a theme going on, isn't there? Belly in, back of the heart lifting up, holding. 2 more solid breaths here, really slow, really gentle breaths. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Endurance to the glutes. Belly in, belly in. Release. Come on down nice and slow. Take a breath. Maybe you're dropping the knees from side to side a couple of times. And then hugging the knees in towards your chest. We'll rock up to a seat just for a moment. And then coming towards some kind of version of double pigeon. So left shin on the bottom, right shin on the top. Try and stack up the legs as best as you can. If this isn't happening, which I totally understand, it's quite a contorted shape. Maybe the bottom heel pulls back a little bit extra, and this top leg is a bit more like a figure 4. If that's not happening, just a nice loose cross-legged position, but lift through the lower back and start to bow forward. Just on that loose cross-legged variation, because I know some of you really might be in that. It is really tricky shape for the hips to do. I won't lie about that. If you're in this loose cross-legged position, turn your body more towards the knee that's at the front. So you're getting a bit more of a fold to the side, and even that heel might come even further forward. But get the chest going towards the line of the thigh and bowing in that direction there. If you're there with fire log pose or double pigeon, The Sanskrit name is Agni Stambhasana. We keep a nice lift in the lower back, sitting bones heavy as we start to fold and soften the shoulders in. Easy breathing, no force, no strain. Long, drawn out breaths. Back body expansion. We got just a sense of presence with the body. We're curating a conscious involvement with self-soothing. We're starting to manage the field of the mind. We don't let it kind of wander and avoid the discomfort. Instead, focus on actively soothing the body. And certainly we recognize that the body and the mind are not different things. 3 more big breaths. Next inhale, chest lifts up. Brief stop in reverse tabletop. Hands just behind your hips, feet on the floor, hip width apart. Roll back the shoulders, lift up the hips. Keep the chest pushing through the shoulders. 1 big breath at the top here. And then release. I'll stay sideways for now, and we'll come into the other side of that double pigeon or some kind of variation like it. So sitting bones heavy, lower back lifted, and then bowing forward at the hip. So you're looking for that hinge to happen at the hip. Rather than just rounding your upper back to fold in, you really want to push the spine forward and then soften in and down to fold. We let things settle. We try not to force or strain. You know you've gone a little bit deep if your muscles are contracting in those focused areas and you can't let them go. If they can't let go, it's a little bit deep. So you might just back it off an inch or 2. Have a bit of a conversation with those areas that you can feel it the most. Bring that softness in, slow breaths, nice, soft state of mind. And then sort of allow for the body to let you through into the posture in a very gentle way. But you've got to work with the body rather than determination and willpower overtaking the nature of the body. The body's own intelligence is there. Work with it. All those contracting muscles are protective mechanisms. And so we've kind of got this quality of listening to the body. We apply every action to not force, but to soothe. We tuck in for just a little bit of a final bit of hold here. Last breath or 2. Inhale, chest lifts up. Again, reverse tabletop or full reverse plank this time. Up to you which way you might want to take it. If it's plank, legs out straight, point the feet, really fire up your glutes. So your backside's going to do a lot of work. Roll back the shoulders, squeeze, belly in, point the toes, lift, push the chest up through the shoulders and hold. Grounding the toes, calves are lit up here, big breath. Release, come on down. Bend your knees, roll down onto your back. And as soon as you get onto your back, lift the legs up towards the ceiling. If you want to bring it up into shoulder stand, now is your time. I'm going to take many of these sort of, might call them softer variations today, but just more appropriate variations for just how your body's feeling. And we get the same kind of general effect from each one of these postures. There's absolutely no consideration that a stronger posture is better for the body. You've got to find something that's appropriate for the moment. And this is doing me just fine. Notice the sensation of the inversion, whichever one you might be in. A feeling of elevated legs. A general feeling of soothing the body here. We take just maybe 5 more big breaths. Shoulder standers, welcome to take it into plow, taking our legs over your face, keeping a good sense of buoyancy and lift in your hips. Shoulder stand or plow. Last couple of breaths. And then a release to bring the legs down. Maybe a cheeky happy baby to finish off the practice. A twist might be really nice here, actually. You feel out what might suit, but wrap up your practice in a way that feels best for your body. And as soon as you feel ready, let's go ahead and come down into Shavasana, but absolutely no rush. Counter poses like fish pose, absolutely welcome, but yeah, organize your body for a rest. Get comfy. Tucking the shoulder blades back and underneath you. And so in many ways, the practice looks to bring just a sense of harmony to the body. This sense of balance, where we don't feel pushed or pulled in any one direction. Don't feel quite so caught up in cycles that are happening. In fact, we've created a different cycle in the body. And this cycle brings just a good sense of ease into multiple layers and levels of experience. Those layers are your physical body, your energetic body, and your mental body. And a sense of coherence between all three kind of lending itself to that feeling of balance, that feeling of harmony. And so we let these dimensions rest. Your body rests, your breath rests, so we let it return to a natural, normal pace. And then we also try and allow for the mind to rest. So trying not to make any plans here. And trying not to get too introspective. Just keep everything just really plain, really boring. Just let these few moments here in Shavasana be exceptionally easy. Try not to fill up this space with anything but the experience of rest. Let the body get heavy. Release, surrender, let go, and let's rest. Nice deep breath in. Shift your attention more outwardly. When the moment feels right, introduce some movement, fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Do a bit of a stretch, awaken the body through movement. No rush at all, but I'll start to head up to a seated position when you're ready. Eyes closed. Hands come into prayer at heart center. And we take the hands into this position as a symbolic gesture. A gesture of togetherness and unity, not only with the practice and with each other, but ultimately with ourselves. And it's with that in mind that we take a humble bow of the head and say Namaste. A pleasure and a joy as always. Hope you had fun. Take care. Big love to you. See you soon. Thanks, folks.